Hello my random viewers and welcome to Randomly Offensive. Today we're talking about the top 10 chads of the MCU. And if you have not seen my two previous top 10 simps of the MCU, absolutely check those out. I will have them linked at the end of the video and you can click on them and watch them if you like. Now, starting off with number 10 of the top 10 chads of the MCU is Iron Man Tony Stark. Because, granted, he was on my simp list, but he's also on the Chad list. However, he's number 10 because he's not the biggest Chad in the MCU. However, when we see him before he becomes a simp in Iron Man 1, he is a total Chad. He doesn't really care about what people think of him, especially in the very beginning. And this guy is quippy, he's smart, he does not fight for admiration, he doesn't fight for anyone's respect or anyone's approval. He does what he wants when he wants to, and he just doesn't care. And he flirts with anybody. He will flirt with any chick, even if they hate him and despise him. And he's successful with the pickup lines, even if the interviewer hates his guts and is trying to get beef and dirt on him. He still ends up winning her over in the first movie. Now, going on from that, he becomes a simp for Pepper Potts, and he simps very hard for that woman. But you can just tell by the way he carries himself, he's a total Chad, and many people would want to get with him. So, Tony Stark, Iron Man, number 10 on the list, total Chad, in Iron Man 1. Number 9 spot goes to Shang Chi. Because Shang Chi is a total simp in the MCU because he is the only character who does not fall in love with the female counterpart. He does not fall in love with his female sidekick. They're just friends. There's no romance there. Every other MCU character has to have a romantic relationship with the side character, the side female character, almost always. And they're always simping so hard for that love interest. But Shang-Chi just throws it all away. He doesn't care what the social standards are for what a superhero has to have, including a love interest damsel in distress. He just has a female friend. And yes, he will do what he has to do to save her life because she's a close friend, but there's no romance there. So he's a total Chad compared to every other superhero in the MCU because he is not simping for the woman that's in his life. He's just friends with her, likes to go out and dance and sing and do karaoke. The guy's a Chad. And unlike his father, he's not giving everything up for this woman, and he doesn't care what people think about him because he just, even though he could make it incredibly far in life and climb up the ranks in any branch in any company, he decides to be a car valet and just parks cars for a living, and he's happy with that. He has nothing to prove, and he's a total Chad. And coming in at number 8 is Ned from Spider-Man. Now, I know when you talk about Chads, Ned does not come into the picture, but he is number 8 on this list for a very valid reason. He's not jealous of Peter Parker. He doesn't care about the superpowers. He says that he'd like to have them, kind of, maybe, if he's willing to get bit by the spider. He's not even sure if he's willing to get bit by a spider to get them. He's just not jealous of Peter Parker. He admires Peter Parker. He likes Peter Parker as a friend, but he is overwhelmingly happy just to be the man in the chair. You don't have that side character jealousy thing going on where he eventually becomes the bad guy, which he might become the bad guy in the future. However, the Ned that we know in the first trilogy of Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Spider-Man, Ned just is not a Chad. He's not into the romance. He's not into chicks. He doesn't care what people think of him. He likes his Lego Death Star, regardless of how stupid people might think that is. He embraces his inner nerd, and even though he's incredibly intelligent and smart enough to go into MIT, he doesn't actually push it off and brag about it and make a big deal about it. He just doesn't care what people think of him, and so that's why it puts him so on the Chad list. Granted, he's low on the Chad list because he did have a romantic encounter in Far From Home. However, even that was Chad worthy, because he got into it because it was fun, and then when it was over, he was like, yeah, relationship's over, and I did the thing, it was fun, now I'm over it. And yeah, Chad worthy, Ned, very Chad worthy. And number 7 is Wong from Doctor Strange. Now, of course, Wong is a total Chad, and you could tell why. In the end of Shang Chi, he walks into the bar, just hauls out Shang Chi's name as if it's nothing. And there's like 3 ways I'm pronouncing this guy's name. Shang Chi, and Shang Chi. I don't know. I don't know how it's pronounced. But anyway, Wong just goes in there, says his name as if it's just a normal encounter, goes up and chugs just this random woman's drink, doesn't even give a care, and just goes on with his day. And he's not jealous of Doctor Strange throughout any of the franchise. And when he takes it, he doesn't like rub it in Doctor Strange's face. In fact, it becomes more of a married couple back and forth thing of like who's actually in charge and who makes the mistakes and who should be in charge. And Wong, I mean, it's obvious why Wong's a Chad, so he is on the list at number 7. Now is when we get into the real Chads of the list. Number 6 is Drax the Destroyer. Drax is a total Chad. I mean, he has, in the second movie, a woman who he thinks is coming onto him, and he starts vocally gagging and trying to vomit in front of her just to prove a point, and then just straight up calls her ugly. And the guy's a Chad. All he cares about is having a good time, and he cares about the fight. But yeah, again, he doesn't care what people think of him. He comes off stupid, and he just doesn't care. And he's vocally willing to call women ugly. And of course, with Gamora, he's about to call her a very, very bad thing before she cuts him off. And she's a friend of his. And he's talking to her in admiration while insulting her. And it's hilarious. Drax is a total Chad. And number 5 is Claw. Now, Claw is one of my most favorite characters in the MCU, and I feel like he's very underused, right? However, Obsidious Claw is just, he's great, because Obsidious Claw, I mixed up 2 names. Anyway, Claw is just a great character, and he's a total Chad. He just wants to have fun, he wants to make money, he wants to do his thing, and he will openly mock you in a way that you can't really defend yourself. The scene that he has with Wanda Maximoff in the Age of Ultron is probably one of the best moments a villain has had in the MCU. Talking about how, like, you're gonna mess with my mind to make me, experience the thing I'm most scared of. Well, I'm most scared of cuttlefish, and so go ahead and put that in my brain, and I'll know you don't mean business. This guy just chads Wanda Maximoff right away. And he chads everyone, and he's not even offended that he's betrayed by his partner and is killed off. In fact, he just looks at him and says, I thought you were just a stupid American, and he laughs it off as he dies. And this guy, he doesn't really try to win his fights trying to prove that he's better or anything. He wins all his fights in a cowardly fashion, in an intelligent fashion, in a badass fashion. However he needs to win, he'll do it because he doesn't care what the audience thinks of him. The guy's chatting on us. And Claw is just great. And number 4 is Thor. Now, if you don't think Thor is a Chad because he has a love interest that he supposedly simps on, you'd be dead wrong. Because Thor does not simp. He falls in love with Jane Foster, sure, but then he breaks the only way he has to see her to beat his brother in a fight. And then, when he finds a way to go back to Earth, he doesn't even say hi to her or visit her. He hangs out with his friends and takes on bad guys, and then he just goes home without saying a word. And then years and years later, then he starts getting sad and starts missing Jane Foster because, I mean, that's the equivalent of you just not talking to a woman for months and then sending her a 2 a.m. text because you're pitching a tent in your bed. So, of course, Thor is a total Chad, and even when they bring up the fact that she dumped him, he doesn't whine about her or anything. He's like, well, it was a mutual dumping. I dumped her. Like, get off my back. I don't even care about her. We dumped each other and we're done. It's over. And I hope they don't ruin that in the third Thor movie. But he just showed amazing Chad worthiness, and that's why he's on the list. Number 3 is the Hulk. Not Bruce Banner, but the Hulk. Because, yeah, he had the sun's getting real low big guy thing with Natasha. But as soon as that relationship escalated and she even mentioned taking a shower with the Hulk, he just, the very next day, he hopped on a queen ship and left the entire frickin' planet, and he had no intentions on coming back. He left the entire planet. Like, this is when you have that crazy woman that you might have been into, and then she's so freaking crazy that you end up having to leave the city or leave to a different state. This guy left the entire frickin' planet and went to a whole planet and then founded his own life and became a fighter, an arena god, an arena champion, right? And just lived his own life and had no intentions on ever going back and saying hi to Natasha. The only reason he went back is because he was forced to, and he was sent back, and then when he was back, he decided to do the right thing. But even then, he didn't really say much or do much with Natasha. He said hi, and that was it, but that was Bruce Banner. The Hulk, when he had the opportunity, he left the planet as soon as he thought that Bruce Banner and Natasha were about to get serious. And number 2 is Wakabi from Black Panther. Now, Wakabi is a total Chad, because this guy doesn't even simp for his wife. He decides that what he wants is the same thing that Killmonger wants. And so, he's willing to fight and kill his wife in war just to get what he wants. He's not gonna give up his dream for anybody. He decided he's gonna follow this guy, and he's gonna follow this guy to the ends of the earth. And he gets into a fight. Let's just think about that. There is a war in Wakanda between all the wives and husbands. All the husbands are fighting for the villain, and all the wives are fighting for the hero. And of course, the hero's side wins. Can you just imagine the awkward dinner conversations after all of that? I mean, there are going to be so many men in hot water after that war, and no one talks about it. No one talks about the awkward dinner conversations that are going to happen because every single husband in Wakanda was willing to kill their wives in war because they wanted the same thing that the villain wanted. Like, it's hilarious, and no one talks about it. But anyway, Wakabi, total Chad, doesn't even chat for his wife. He's going to get what he wants, how he wants, and the only reason he put his weapons down is because he was outmatched and felt like Okoye could kill him. So he didn't do it out of love or admiration. He did it because he was scared for his life. And so, yeah, total Chad. And coming in at number 1 on the list of Chads is Ego the Living Planet. Because, of course, Ego is the top Chad of the MCU. Ego the Living Planet has been with every single type of woman in the entire universe. He gets with one woman on every planet and just ditches them, leaves them. This guy is the biggest player in the history of players, and he just doesn't care. He has a lifelong dream, a lifelong goal, and when there is a woman that could potentially take away that goal, he gives her cancer because he does not want his goal being taken away from. He gives her cancer and kills her off because she might actually cause him to stay there and live a humble, normal life. Now, of course, he's a villain. That's a very bad thing to do, and I'm not suggesting you do that. If you have a way to give people cancer, I don't suggest you do it. Very bad. I'm pretty sure it's illegal. But he's still a total Chad. He doesn't simp for anybody. And he doesn't even care about the relationship he has with his own son. He wants to use his son as a battery. And of course, he's willing to go about it in a way that allows Peter Quill to live a normal, happy, immortal life. But as soon as Quill's like, hey, you killed my mom, I'm gonna kill you, he's like, okay, you know what, living battery, here you go. And just intends to imprison him for all eternity. And when he fails, that's when he panics and he becomes a little bit of a simp. But you have the feeling that he's not actually doing it for real. The only thing that might make this guy simp-worthy, is he feels like if he's just like everyone else, he is lesser than what he is now. But he is an immortal living planet And that you gotta expect him not to want to be human after all these years. He's had all this power, and he's had the ability to Chad on the entire universe. I mean, it's just amazing. Ego is a total Chad, and I will not accept any arguments on that. Actually, I will. If you disagree, go ahead and put that on the comments. I don't know. But anyway, that is the top 10 list of Chads. So, thank you for listening. If you made it this far, thank you very much. Do please consider hitting the like, subscribe button, and maybe even share. That'll help me out a lot. I'm a small channel. So with that being said, do not get hit by a meteor. Take care of yourselves, and bye.